my Dotty family, and welcome to my channel. Come and join me on this magical journey through the world of dot art. I'm Zelda from the Fairy realm, and today we're going to get started on our rock. Yay! So we're going to start with our center circle, our center dot, in a 13mm, and for that I'm going to use my color number 1, which is clear blue. And I'm going to use the first circle as an indicator of exactly where my dot should be going. So I want to see that my tool is equally far away from the first circle on all sides before I place my center dot. And here you can see that it didn't give me the nice round bubble that I wanted there, so I'm going to redip my tool. And what I do, I want to show you from the side, is I'm not going to put the tool completely down. I just want to add new paint to it to give me that little bubble there. Right, and this is a little bit skewed. There we go. That looks a little bit better. Next, we're going to be using the 8mm tool, and that's going to be in color number 2, which is my sage green. Now, if you have your equal sections, you should have up, down, left, and right, which means that you'll have one line, and you'll 1, 2, 3 open will be the next one. 1, 2, 3, next one. 1, 2, 3, next one. 1, 2, 3, open. So I'm going to place it as center to this line as I possibly can, and as close to the center dot as possible without touching. Now I'm not going to be worried about it going over those lines right now, because that's not part of what I'm doing here right now. And then I'm going to skip 1, 2, 3 straight lines and then do the next one. That's going to go there. Again, skip 1, 2, 3. It's going to go here. So this one should be directly opposite to that one over there, like so. And again, 1, 2, 3, and this one should also be directly opposite to that one. Which will give you 4 equal. Okay, so now we're going to build a petal. And I'm going to start that by using my 4mm tool, and I'm moving on to color number 3, which in this case is my teal. And also just a little tip as well, to remember which colors we're working in, I put them in sequence in my palette tray as well. So that's color 1, 2, 3, and 4 and 5 will go there, so I don't get confused, especially if you're going to be working with different colors than what I'm working with. So formal, you're going to place your dot above the previous dots. So 4mm, the fanciest tool of them all. Why, you may ask? Because it's a formal. Hope some of you get that. I want to show you quickly what I mean with the chalk lines interfering when they're really thick, although these ones are not. Can you see that it leaves a little bit of an indent in my dot there? Okay, that's what it looks like when the chalk interferes with the paint. It doesn't always do it, but when it does, then I will use the end of the smallest ball tool I've got, which is in my case the yellow one, and then I will just round it. You can even dunk it in the paint to add some, like here, and then just round that little piece. Like so. Looks a little bit better. Okay. So if your chalk lines are thicker than that, then it's definitely going to leave bigger indents, and that's what we're trying to avoid by using very light chalk lines. Okay, so that was the 4mm tool. 3mm is next. And now remember, when a flower grows, okay, it usually grows around the center point. So we're going to dot these ones in this little space here, because the next ones are going to follow are going to go down around. A lot of people, I don't know why, they place them on the side of each one, and then when they want to move down, it starts looking more like a rectangle. So we want to do one there. Like so. So it's almost creating a little bit of a triangle effect going down around, and we're going to do that with all of them. Next, we're going to grab our big ball tool, which is in my case my green one, and we're going to use the big ball side, sticking to the same color. We're going to walk the dog. Yes, I say walk the dog, not walk the dot, because that's how I started in my workshop and my students. So we're going to walk the dot. So that means dipping it once. You're still going to keep your tool as up straight as you possibly can, just like you do with the bamboo tools. And then go 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're going to walk the dog 4 times on each petal side. Always stick to the same number. 1, 2, 3, 4. Because it just creates consistency in your design. We're going to add another layer of petals, and that we're going to do in color number 4, lavender in my case. I'm going to stick to my formal for now, because with the walking the dog, we walked 4 dogs, which means that in the next round I can actually add 5, which means we're not going to run out of paint, so I don't need to go up in size this way. So I'm going to keep to this size. So your formal again, and 1 dot. What I'm looking out for now as well is I've now come up to my first circle, which means that my design needs to expand equally. So I'm trying to get the purple dots in exactly the same position, equally far away from the circle, all of them. And that means that my design is expanding equally in all directions. Because if you're not going to be doing that, then your design is going to come out a little bit lopsided. Okay, 3 mil again, 1 on each side. Ooh, that was wet. Why is there water in here? So this is what happens to your dots when there's water interference. You can see it almost like it didn't take, and you can see that it's wet there. So I'm just going to wait for that to dry, and then I'm just going to fix that one. That sometimes happens when you don't dry your tool off properly, then you get the wet dot. So you always need to dry your tools properly just after you've used them, so that they are ready for the next round. Okay, like so. Then again, the green tool, big ball side. Four, 5, 6. Okay, so I'm going to walk the dog 6 times down each side. If you can only fit 5, then you do 5, but then you do 5 with all of them. Right, next I'm going to be using color number 5, which in my case is violet. I'm going to go a little bit smaller, so I'm going to go with my 7mm tool. And now on the straight lines in between those petals, you're going to make a dot. Stick to the straight lines, even if it looks a little bit skew, because if you're not going to stick to the lines, that's going to mess with your structure, and then it's going to look even more off once you're done. Now I'm going to take my 3mm tool and I'm going to make one just above each one of those in color number 1. So on the straight line. Then I'm going to take my green tool again, the big ball side, and in the same color I'm going to walk the dog 1, 2, 3 times down each side. Now we're going to build a circle with our, actually I'm going to go smaller. Let's say the all ball size. Okay, so this is the one that all of the tools have got the same size of in the ones on the one side. And we're going to use color number 2. Now depending on where your circle is, right, it might either be on the inside of the circle, on the outside of the circle, or on the circle. But we're going to do dots all the way around, as close to each other without touching. Luckily mine goes on the circle. So you need to check all sides first if it's going to work to kind of see exactly where you need to place your dots. I'm resetting the size of my tool because my dots are getting bigger than what they started out as, which means that the paint is building up on my tool and it's drying on my tool. And we want the size to stay consistent. So every now and again, just reset the size of your tool by rinsing it. When you get close to closing your circle, you're going to see exactly how many dots you can fit in there. To me, it looks like I might do 1, 2, I can probably fit 3 in there. And then I'm going to space them out equally. So what I'm going to do is my first one is going to be the center one. And I'm going to do 1 on each side. Make sure I space them as well as I can in relation to the other dots around it, and that will close up your circle nicely. Okay, that's for the one circle. We're going to do another one. We're going to use color number 3 for the next circle, and we're going to be sticking to the same tool, the same size, and we're going to do the alternate spacing. So in other words, in between those two there's a dot, in between those two there's a dot, and so on to complete your circle. Alright. If you were wondering why my palette is so close, it's because then I don't have to reach halfway across the table to get my paint. So this is also another tip if you just want to bring it in a little bit closer. Okie dokie, so next I'm going to take my 10mm tool, 10mm, and we're going to use color number 5. And with color number 5, you're going to make a dot on each and every single straight line. Now I want to do a few top dots on these, so as soon as I am done placing them here, my paint is not, that's why I'm not worried about the texture of the paint right now, because I'm going to flatten it. So this is what happens when the paint is a little bit stiff or a little bit, I won't say dry, but dry-ish, too dry to dot with. And that's usually when you'll, a quick tip is when you just take your tool and dip it in the water and then just mix it with your paint, and that should sort out the problem. That will correct it for painting. If you want to get into the more advanced stuff, oh, by the way, I'm just using the all ball side to quickly flatten these while I talk. Kitty hair. Okay, so I'm just flattening it like that. If you want to get into the more advanced painting mixing, I'll probably make a YouTube video on that at some point. I'm just flattening the peaks so I can do some top dotting on top of it. Okay, I'm going to break this up in 2 videos. So we'll carry on and we'll finish the rock in the next one. I want to thank you guys so much for joining me today. I will see you in the next video. Stay dotty, stay magical, keep well. Bye-bye. Every single day.